somebody said to me the other day, said, have you ever thought of retiring? And I said, look, if you had a mate that you really enjoyed going down the pub every night, would you say to him, when are you going to stop going down the pub then? You're too old to stop going down the pub. And you're not, are you?
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
I am proper buzzed and proper excited. I can't believe it's been this long because I've heard jingles on the melting pot for the last 4 years from this absolute legend. I'm so pleased to welcome on to the show the legend that is Mr. John Otway. John, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. What an incredible and illustrious career. When I was kind of trying to sort of hone it down into bits and bobs, you have literally done everything. From over 5,000 gigs, PhDs from Brooks University, from doing Kickstarter campaigns before everything else. What a ridiculous career. You have done everything and still gigging to this day.
Yes, I know. It's quite astonishing, isn't it? My mum always thought I'd have to get a proper job, when I got into my 30s. And all my siblings have now retired and I'm the only one still working.
But still, you must still be absolutely loving it because no one gets to, it's well over sort of 5,000 gigs right now. No one gets to that level of gigging without having the passion and the enjoyment and enthusiasm for it.
Well, somebody said to me the other day, said, have you ever thought of retiring? And I said, look, if you had a mate that you really enjoyed going down the pub every night, would you say to him, when are you going to stop going down the pub then? You're too old to stop going down the pub. And you're not, are you?
No, not at all. Not at all. And speaking of going down the pub, I was going to mention this to you because actually it's quite poignant that we are speaking. Now, for those that don't know, Deadly, who does the Melting Pot, which is our local music show, is the roadie for the legend John Otway. And almost the first gig I think that I saw after the infamous COVID, which we don't mention, we move swiftly on from that, was your good self at the Red Lion in a garden because we weren't allowed inside for a barbecue. And seeing you,
yes.
Yes, and seeing you, it is a performance. It is everything and more that you could want from yourself up on stage. And it's just, you'll laugh as much as you'll sing, as much as you'll just enjoy, and even just have the bizarreness around it as well. It's incredible.
Yes, it's funny with the Oxford gig coming up on Sunday because that's Deadly the Roadie. It's his 50th birthday. And my joke is what I got for my 50th birthday was a top 10 hit record. What Deadly gets for his 50th birthday is us playing.
that particular, yeah, and it is. Well, I'm sure that is the present that he actually always wanted.
Of course, yes.
Of course it is. Of course it is. But just, the amazing career that you've had, and also the thing that stuck in my mind as well. And if you've not seen John before, make sure you get yourself down to the Jericho Tavern because it is an absolute spectacle. I'm going to ask, where did the weird guitar come from?
The double neck guitar, or the ambidextrous guitar, or the 12 string, as I often refer to it.
Yeah, because it is all those things. Yeah.
Yes. What happened was I was working with a guitarist called Ollie Holston, who was a left-handed guitarist, and I'd always played a right-handed guitar because interesting. The first instrument I had to play was the violin. And I often make the joke, you don't get left-handed violin players. No. So I played right-handed. But then this guitarist asked me to restring his guitar and tune it up. And I had to go. And I thought, hang on, I could play a few chords this way round. In fact, I would have probably been a better guitarist had I done it this way round. And then I had the idea, well, hang on, I could have one of the, a guitar with two guitars, stuck together, neck either side. And then I realised that the case would have to be huge, really long case. And I thought, why not just hinge it in the middle so you can fold it up and put it in a smaller case? And then I realised that it flapped.
A guitar that flaps is not a good guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
brilliant.
and because it flaps, and if it flaps too much, you can call it the nutcracker guitar.
Oh my day. Yes, of course. What an image painted there. Of course. But it is one of those images that stays with you sort of during your performance. I just wanted to ask. I mean, looking back and kind of so much has happened. You've done so much. From the early 70s, all the way up till today. Are there particular highlights? Are there things that stick in your mind that you go, actually, I'm holding on to that. I'm cherishing that, or that's got a bit that's a little bit closer to your heart than all of the others.
Oh, there's a couple stick out very strongly. One because a lot of people, when I was growing up in Elgin, thought I was just a bit of a joke, and then we had the hit record, and I played the Market Square, and about 40,000 people turned out to see me in Aylesbury Market Square.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that was a bit like that showed them, didn't it, and me. And the other one that does particularly because we had that hit in 1977, and it was 25 years before we had another one,
Yeah.
and we had a big campaign to have another hit, for my 50th birthday, and it was a real battle. We really wanted to get a top 10 hit record, and it was a real battle to get it into the
Yeah.
into the top 10. And all through that week, that campaign, when we get people to get through the shops, nobody quite knew if we'd got into the top 10. And I remember the chart went down because we were doing the London Palladium that night to celebrate the end of my one-hit wonder status. And there's a lot of people gathered outside this pub in Argyle Street, and there was a barrel on it, and somebody put a radio listening to chart, countdown. I walked up and stood on top of the barrel, holding the transistor radio aloft as they announced that I was at number 9 in the charts.
Wow. I mean, two incredible things, and you're like, you say yourself that actually there's kind of like, there's always been the divide between, like you said yourself, not taking yourself too seriously and that punk aesthetic as well. And there's maybe just that fine line between those sorts of things of being like, oh yeah, very, very punk and very, that was the fashionable thing to be, versus not taking yourself too seriously, which the punk scene didn't at all. It was the anti scene and what have you, and then not taking yourself seriously. So to traverse those two boards is quite special and quite incredible. And you sort of attribute that to your fan base now, which is still to this day absolutely monumental. Whatever you do, it is hugely successful. All the gigs that you play to are hugely well attended. Whether it be a Kickstarter campaign or autobiographies or new music, your fan base has been there and seen it and done it with you.
Yes, I mean, I think a lot of acts basically have this sort of idea that the show starts when you walk on stage and finishes when you come off. I've always thought the whole thing, or my whole career, the whole thing is part of the entertainment, which is why I always hang around the bar when people are coming in the interval and chat to them, and try to get them excited about the next big project, and part of it is always having a project on the go.
Yeah, or even now, always projects on the go. Like even this fantastic gig this weekend with Deadly's 50th birthday, and your good self, and the Kokroachez as well. And what's your kind of thoughts and opinions? You've been around, you've seen it all, you've done it, you've played. If there's a venue out there, you've played it. We've just heard about that. But what's your kind of thoughts and opinions on sort of music up and coming? I mean, you're going to be playing with the Kokroachez, band from Whitney. They're still in school, but making great waves in music. What do you kind of, I don't know, maybe words of wisdom or thoughts about it?
I don't know. I mean, my principle of I've always just thought, when I do a show, just imagine you in the audience watching yourself, and would you find that entertaining or would you find it boring? And basically just try and be entertaining, and just try and sort of like look at what you're doing as if you're a member of the audience. And a lot of things is, what would be fun for Otway to do next? Do you know what I mean? Be it a movie, be it a film. I mean, later on this year, somebody said, when you go to Ireland and get a coachload of fans and do a long weekend, and so that's the plan for October. Take a 50 fans round in a coach and play Belfast, Dublin, Cork, and Galway.
Wow. The thing that even just chatting to you now, and I kind of knew this from doing sort of a bit of research and what have you on yourself, that actually you're sort of still inventing ways of gigging and ways of being, unique and ways of being special. But even just from doing something as simple as, like you said, standing at the bar and chatting to the people that you're going to be performing to, instantly gives you that kind of, I don't know, it breaks down the barrier of stage and performer, and actually it all becomes one big thing, rather than kind of like, a lot of people are like, walking on stage moody, hammered, don't acknowledge the audience, walk off, done, in the car on the way home. That must give you a sense of real community wherever you play.
I mean, a lot of people are different. I mean, I did support with this chap who tried to give me some advice, and he said, never talk to the audience before you go on stage. And I thought, well, God, I greet them and meet them at the bar and let them buy me drinks.
It's a genius. Why are not people not doing this? This is absolute genius. It really is. John, it's been an absolute joy and a pleasure catching up with you, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with you on Sunday at the Jericho Tavern, because it's going to be a fantastic gig. I bet you'll find me by the bar. But I was just going to say, it won't be difficult to find you. We'll catch you at the bar, and we'll get Deadly and yourself a drink for sure, because it's going to be an absolutely wonderful night. The legend is John Otway on Get Radio this morning. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, John.
No, cheers. Lovely to speak to you.
It's really great. What a great chat. We could have chatted to John for absolutely ever. What an absolute legend.